How to persist in faith when everything seems to lose meaning. Moments of doubt and crises of faith are a natural part of the spiritual journey. Each of us may experience moments when life seems meaningless, and maintaining faith becomes challenging. However, these difficult times can become an opportunity to deepen our relationship with God and find new meaning in our lives. In the Bible, we find many examples of people who struggled with doubts and difficulties. The psalmist confesses, "How long, Lord, will you forget me? Forever, how long will you hide your face from me?" Book of Psalms, Psalm chapter 13, verses 2 and 3. These words show that even those closest to God experienced moments of crisis, but they didn't turn away from Him. Instead, they expressed their feelings and sought His presence. Jesus, while on the cross, cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Gospel of Matthew, chapter 27, verse 46. His words remind us that God understands our suffering and loneliness because He experienced them Himself. However, trust in Jesus leads to hope and eternal life, even in the darkest moments. Psychology emphasizes that crises are not only challenges but also opportunities for growth. Facing difficulties with openness to reflection and support from others allows us to find strength we didn't notice before. Studies show that people engaged in spiritual life more often find meaning and hope, even in the face of suffering. How to persist in faith when everything seems to lose meaning. First, turn to God in sincere prayer. The psalmist writes, "Out of the depths I cry to you, Lord." Book of Psalms, Psalm chapter 130, verse 1. Even if you feel that your prayer is weak, God hears every cry and responds with His love. Second, seek God's guidance in His Word. In the letter to the Romans, Paul writes, "Faith comes from hearing, and what is heard comes through the word of Christ." Letter to the Romans, chapter 10, verse 17. Reading the Bible can remind you of God's promises and show that He is always with you, even when you don't feel it. Third, open yourself to community. Paul encourages in the letter to the Hebrews, "Do not neglect to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encourage one another." Letter to the Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 25. Talking with other believers, praying together or participating in worship services can bring comfort and remind you that you are not alone in your journey. Fourth, practice gratitude for small blessings. In the letter to the Thessalonians, Paul writes, "Give thanks in all circumstances." First letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 18. Noticing God's actions in daily life, even in small things, helps build hope and trust. Fifth, remember that crises of faith can lead to a deeper understanding of God. As Apostle Paul says, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him." Letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. Even difficult experiences can become tools for spiritual growth. Persevering in faith during tough times requires trust, patience, and a willingness to seek God, even when He seems distant. Jesus promises, "I am with you always, to the very end of the age." Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 20. Hold on to this promise, and you will find the strength and hope that will help you weather every storm. May what you've heard bring you peace. Your friend greets you with gratitude.